Hello. Today we're going to greet Dr. Lynn Kline. She is a specialist in early childhood. She's a professor here at the University of Akron in our College of Education. I would like you to share some information about early childhood education with us. I have several questions I'd like to ask you. The first question is, what are best practices in early childhood, and can you give us a few examples?
Certainly. Best practices in early childhood can be summed up in a couple of sentences. We want to make sure that all early childhood classrooms present developmentally appropriate activities to the children, and make sure that children are actively engaged, interacting with materials, actively engaged in constructing their own understanding and their own knowledge. The project approach comes to mind as my first example, and that is where children, very young children, do active inquiry into phenomenon in their world. The project approach is wonderful for young children because it engages them in learning about their environment in multiple ways. So children who are not interested in doing one area or learning about one area can learn about something within that context that is important to them. And so the project approach provides opportunities for children within that range to be excited about what they're learning within their own interests.
That sounds excellent. I was at one point an early childhood educator, and I wish that I had used that approach. I think it's a wonderful, very enriching approach. Would you use technology as well?
Absolutely. Children today are coming to school as digital natives. They are much more adept at picking up technology and using it and trying things out than we are. Digital natives move from one piece of technology to another. They use skills that they've learned and figure out how to adapt it to their to the new software or whatever the technology is that they're using. So yes, of course, multiple resources are available through technology. Of course, it's always best to have first-hand experiences for children with primary resources, with authentic materials and authentic artifacts. But when we can't find those, or when they are not available, then the technology provides a wonderful resource for the children. You know that there's a difference between the project approach and doing projects, and you know that because the project approach has a structure. It has 3 definite stages, and each one of those stages provides opportunities for children to investigate in multiple ways.
Could you tell us a little bit about those stages?
Surely. In stage one, children develop questions. Something occurs, or the teacher presents something that incites some interest, and at that stage they develop questions and they figure out a way to investigate, to find, to observe and collect data, explore, to answer these questions. They draft the questions and they think about how they're going to find out about the topic. Stage 2 is the stage in which they actually do the investigations. During projects, usually the field trip is in the culminating activity. It's the last thing they do. In the project approach, it's in the middle. It is where children find out about the phenomenon. They collect data, they may graph what they're finding out, they may make field notes, field drawings about what they're observing. If it's not possible for them to actually visit, as it was in Puerto Rico, if they have to, if they're looking at something that cannot be visited, then the next best thing is to invite an expert into the class that can bring artifacts, authentic artifacts, or authentic experience, and the children pose their questions and collect the data from the answers that are given. And then at the end, the children come back and make some kind of a representation of what they've learned, as I said before. Some children who are very interested in a drama may reenact what they've seen. They may make costumes or props that represent their level of knowledge. Technology does play an important role in documenting the learning as well as helping them remember what they've seen and what they've done.
It sounds like an excellent approach for all learners and would be very beneficial for English learners, don't you think?
Absolutely. Best practices in early childhood using the project approach is very closely aligned to the PSYOP model, in that we try to give children vocabulary. We let them experience what they're doing and then give them names for what they're doing. But for very young children, we also use icons, as we do for English language learners, for very young English language learners. And we try to give them a shared experience, so there is some previous learning. We try to make sure that they understand the objectives of the lesson so that they know what to expect. We keep a routine so that children can be assured. And we scaffold with lots of conversation, opportunities for oral, not speaking to, but speaking with children, and in providing opportunities to speak among themselves.
How do you think teachers can best reach a variety of learners in early childhood?
Well, I think that early childhood teachers are aware that young children are very sensory motivated. They learn first through their senses, their sense of sight, touch, smell, etc. And I think that they also provide experiences that address all of those senses. I think early childhood teachers also need to be aware and are aware that young children are egocentric. They learn from the inside out. They are interested about their world, what is happening in their classroom, and then their school, and then their city. So that it moves from inside out. So I think the teachers, as they're developing lessons where children are integrating content, as they're thinking about providing opportunities for children to use multiple senses, they are providing a variety of activities. I also think that we think about not only introducing the content in multiple ways, but we also provide multiple opportunities for children to demonstrate what they have learned. Some children may be telling you. Some children may be drawing it for you. Some children, as I said before, may be acting it out or providing a model. So designing learning experiences that provide multiple ways to introduce the content, multiple ways for children to interact with the content, and then multiple ways for children to demonstrate what they have learned enables teachers to work with a variety of children through the range, through the continuum of development.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This has been so wonderful to hear. You make me want to go back and teach.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun there when you're feeling blue and to go into a classroom full of children who just love you and want you to be there. It really is. And you have to be prepared to be teacher, parent, guide, nurse, whatever they need, you have to be able to provide for that child.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.